Yes. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Kamineni, ma'am. Kamineni.
Good morning, everyone. This is Pranali Santoshni and my colleague Mahati. We are from Kamineni Institute of Medical Sciences. This is a case sheet of our patient. Coming to our case details, a 28-year-old male presented to the outpatient department of KIMS with breathlessness on exertion, fatigability, pedal edema, and pain in the epigastrium since 2 years, aggravated since last 2 months. Breathlessness is insidious in onset, gradually progressing from grade 1 to grade 3. There is no history of wheeze, cough with sputum, no history of orthopnea or paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. Swelling of legs is insidious in onset, progressing from foot up to the knee. Patient has vague pain in the upper abdomen, not radiating and aggravated on intake of the food. There was no history of decrease in urinary output. He was a not known case of diabetes or hypertension, no known past history of tuberculosis, asthma, epilepsy, no previous surgeries or blood transfusions done, no history of previous hospitalizations. His diet was mixed, appetite was normal, sleep was normal, bowel and bladder movements were regular, and addictions were none. There was no relevant family history, and he is not under any chronic medications and no known drug allergies. On coming to examination, patient is conscious, coherent, cooperative, well oriented to time, place, and person. He is moderately built and nourished. His vitals, pulse rate was 88 per minute, irregularly irregular, low volume. Blood pressure was 110/70 millimeters of mercury in both the arms in supine position. His respiratory rate was 18 cycles per minute and abdominothoracic type. He is afebrile. There was no pallor icterus cyanosis, clubbing and lymphadenopathy. Bilateral pedal edema is present up to the knee. JVP is raised with prominent Y descent. Coming to cardiovascular system examination, there are no clinical findings on inspection. On palpation, apex beat is well defined in the left fifth intercostal space, 1 centimeter lateral to the midclavicular line. There were no thrills or any other pulsations. On auscultation, there was variable S1, loud P2. Systolic murmurs were heard in the mitral and tricuspid areas. There were no clinical abnormalities noted in the respiratory system examination. Coming to the abdominal examination, on inspection, abdomen is distended, umbilicus is centrally placed, all the quadrants moving equally with the respiration. There were no visible pulsations or dilated veins. There were no visible peristalsis. Hernial sites were normal. Skin of the abdomen smooth and stretched. On palpation, tenderness in the right hypochondrium was present. Hepatomegaly with the liver span extending 10 centimeters below the costal margin. Hepatojugular reflex is present. There was no splenomegaly. On percussion, shifting dullness is present. On auscultation, bowel sounds were heard and there was no venous bruit. Central nervous examination, there were no focal neurological deficit. After the history and clinical examination, we came up with the differential diagnosis of restrictive cardiomyopathy and constrictive pericarditis. Coming to the investigations, routine investigations showed absolute eosinophil count raised up to 3000 per cubic millimeters. ECG showed normal voltage complexes with the atrial fibrillation, right axis deviation with ST T-wave changes. Chest X-ray showed enlarged cardiac allowed with pulmonary congestion. Echocardiographic findings marked by atrial enlargement, mildly hypertrophied but normal-sized ventricles, moderate mitral regurgitation, severe tricuspid regurgitation, mild pulmonary arterial hypertension, fair biventricular function, no intracavitary clots with minimum pericardial effusion. After echocardiography, we ruled out endomyocardial fibrosis. Cardiac catheterization findings were grade 3 mitral regurgitation, severe tricuspid regurgitation, severe pulmonary arterial hypertension, mild right ventricular systolic dysfunction, no apical obliteration, no endocardial calcification, fair left ventricular systolic function dysfunction with normal coronaries. Upper GIT endoscopy showed multiple ulcers and biopsy showed eosinophilic gastritis. This is a 2D echo showing biatrial enlargement, and this is a peripheral blood smear showing raised eosinophils. After the investigations, our differential diagnosis was low-floor endocarditis, which may be due to clonal eosinophilia, which was ruled with the peripheral blood smear, parasitic infections, which was ruled out with the stool cultures, and allergies were ruled out with hypersensitive skin tests. And after ruling out neoplastic conditions, our final diagnosis was hypereosinophilic syndrome, manifesting with restrictive cardiomyopathy and eosinophilic gastritis. Patient was put upon tablet digoxin, tablet furosemide, and tablet warfarin, which are given once daily, tablet prednisolone 10 milligrams thrice daily, and tablet clopidogrel A 150 by 75 milligrams once daily. Follow-up. Patient was reviewed every 15 days and considerable improvement in the symptoms was seen. Brief note on hypereosinophilic syndrome. It's a disease characterized by a persistently elevated eosinophil count greater than 1500 eosinophils per cubic mm in the blood for at least 6 months without any recognizable cause, with involvement of either heart, nervous system or bone marrow. It's a very rare condition with a prevalence of only 1 to 2 per million people. Most commonly seen in adults. Patient present with the symptoms like skin rashes, dizziness, memory loss, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, fever, and mouth sores. Apart from the treatment given to the patient, other treatment options included chemotherapeutic agents such as hydroxyurea, vincristine, interferon alpha, tyrosine kinase inhibitors like imatinib. Use of monoclonal antibody mepolizumab is under trial. If this becomes success, corticosteroids can be replaced by this drug and adverse effect of corticosteroids can be masked. In severely damaged valves of the heart, prosthetic valves can replace the organic valves. Thank you.
In constrictive pericarditis, the apical beat is not prominent as in restrictive cardiomyopathy, and in jugular venous pulse, constrictive pericarditis have both X and Y wave descent is prominent, whereas in restrictive cardiomyopathy only Y wave descent is prominent, ma'am.
Kusumal sign is seen in constrictive pericarditis, and pulsus paradoxus is seen in constrictive pericarditis.
After the investigations, we had a differential diagnosis of endomyocardial fibrosis and low-flow endocarditis, sir. Endomyocardial fibrosis was ruled out by endocardiography, which did not show any thickenings of the endocardium. And finally, we came to the diagnosis of low-flow endocarditis, which may be secondary to tropical eosinophilia or any allergic reactions, parasites, or hypereosinophilic syndrome. But ruling out all the others, we came to the final diagnosis, sir. Endocarditis, not particular signs, sir. They have low-grade. They may have undergone a recent any surgeries or prosthetic valve replacements or low-grade fever. Osseous nodules are present, osseous nodes at the fingertips. His patient is febrile. Arthritis may be present. Thank you.
Just a minute. Any questions from the audience?
Let us make the session lively, right? Any questions there? Yeah, just a minute. Please come back. Let us speak over our comfort zone. Some technical problem with the mic. Sorry for the trouble.
The corticosteroids were given to reduce the eosinophilic counts, and then we have given digoxin to treat the atrial fibrillation and the valve prolapses like mitral regurgitation and all that. Then antiplatelet treatment was given to prevent further thromboembolic phenomena. Yeah. See, low flux endocarditis is restrictive cardiomyopathy caused due to eosinophilic rise. So first, if you decrease the eosinophilic count, and then you can treat the conditions caused by it. So treatment of eosinophilia is more important in these cases. Yeah. Corticosteroid treatment.
A small announcement here before we go to the next case. We have poster presentations beginning in a few minutes. Any participants over here of poster presentation? Okay. We shall move on. May I call on stage Sania, Maheen and Razia Fatima from VRK Medical College?
Good morning.